Hello everyone, welcome back. This video brings to you about the reproductive system in Nereis and its development. So far we have completed the morphology, digestive system, respiratory system, blood circulation, etc. And here we'll be discussing on the reproductive system. Most species of Nereis, they are dioecious, that is unisexual, and the testes and the ovaries, it's not distinct, and there are no permanent reproductive organs in the case of Nereis, and they are masses of developing gametes formed only during the breeding season. Okay, the rest of the time they don't have any such permanent structures in Nereis, and these what you call masses of gametes, they develop as projections of swellings by the proliferation of the peritoneum in all the trunk segments of the body, leaving a few anterior segments. So leaving a few anterior segments, the rest of the body do have these mass of gametes produced during the breeding season, okay, after sexual maturity. In a mature worm in the Nereis, you can see that coelom remains packed with gametes. In Nereis, there are no gonoducts to pass the sperm or the ova to the external medium. The fertilization is external, obviously. So the sperms or the ova are discharged to outside seawater, the external medium, mostly through the nephridia, the metanephridia, which we have already spoken in the previous video, through the what you call the nephridia, it is being passed out. Okay, by the action of cilia bound by the nephrostome and the nephridial tubules, the sperms or ova, it is collected and it is being passed out into the external medium through the what you call nephridium. Even in some cases, we can see the gametes are discharged out either by the rupture of the body wall in some other species. That is, gametes are liberated by the breakdown of the body wall. After the rupture of the body wall, the adults die in such species. Another important feature is the presence of a phenomenon which is known as the epitocky. Okay, at sexual maturity, you can see most of the posterior segments. Okay, so this is the anterior segment and posterior segments, and most of the posterior segments get filled with gametes, and they exhibit morphological and anatomical differentiation. So these constitute the sexual region which is known as the epitocky. Okay, the posterior regions which undergo morphological anatomical transformation during the sexual maturity, that particular region is known as the epitocky or sexual region, and the anterior region, it is the non-sexual region or the etocky. Okay, so these few anterior segments which don't take part in the gamete formation, they constitute the non-sexual region or the asexual region. Now, the sexually mature worm with these two regions, the etocky and epitocky, such a what they call individuals, they are known as Heteronereis. Okay, it is known as a Heteronereis, and this phenomenon is what is known as epitocky. Okay, I hope that part is clear. Now, what are the characteristic features of Heteronereis, which is actually different from the Nereis? Okay, when they become Heteronereis, how it is getting like what are the changes happening during the Heteronereis formation? Usually we can see that Nereis they live in burrows under stones, or they creep at the bottom of the sea. They remain hidden. They are not so active during the night time alone. So instead of creeping on the sea bottom or living in burrows, Heteronereis swims actively on the sea surface. Okay, in the sea vertical surface waters, right? And the body of the Heteronereis, it is divisible into two distinct regions, as already mentioned, etocky and epitocky, which is where in the case of Nereis there is no such demarcations or differentiations into these regions. The as we can see, the eyes in the case of Nereis, they are small and indistinct, but in the case of Heteronereis, the eyes become prominent, they become greatly enlarged and conspicuous. And the worm itself, it becomes very sensitive to light, highly sensitive to light. And this is a peculiar feature of pelagic animals. Okay. uh, the in the what do you call the sensory projections. Okay, in the pygidium, the sensory projections becomes shrunken, while in the pygidium, that is in the anal segment, what happens is these special sensory papillae emerge. Okay, so usually the sensory projections become shrunken, but in the pygidium or in the anal segment, the sensory papillae becomes more prominent and special sensory papillae develops. Okay, the parapodia. In the case of Nereis, all the parapodia are similar, except for the trunk segments, the parapodia are a little more, middle segments, the parapodia are a little more larger. Otherwise, it is almost alike, similar. But in the case of Heteronereis, the parapodia of the posterior sexual region of the body, it becomes larger, more vascularized, that is with more number of blood capillaries developing there, and they develop flattened leaf-like outgrowths for more rapid respiration, because these heteronereis, they are highly active, they need more amount of energy, more respiration need to be there. So to support that, they develop more amount of vascularization in the highly flattened leaf-like outgrowths in the parapodia. The normal setae in the normal parapodia, it get replaced by new ones, and these new parapodia, they are flattened and O-shaped. You can see here. Okay, they are O-shaped, and it is arranged in a fan-like manner. You can see the O-shaped setae, they are arranged in a fan-like manner. Okay, it extends it, like all along the length, and this arrangement and this the O-shaped setae, it helps to increase the surface required for a more efficient swimming. Along with this, parapodia also develop certain structures like dorsal cirrus. Okay, they get altered. New muscles are formed to support active swimming habit. Right. This is the photograph of a Heteronereis. You can see the parapodia over here and the parapodia here. The posterior region, it is different, isn't it? So this is the epitoc region and this is the etoc region, and this condition, the stage is known as the Heteronereis. Okay, and here you can see the highly developed what you call parapodia. Now, what are the other setae on parapodia? It is normal, while pointed at the tips, while in the case of Heteronereis, it is oar-shaped and arranged in a fan-like manner. Um, the peristomial cirri on the head region, peristomial cirri, it becomes longer in Heteronereis, and intestine, it becomes what you call compressed and become almost functionless. It is because of the highly developed what you call gametes, mass of gametes develops over there, so it becomes shrunken. Okay, so these are the changes which happens when Nereis becomes Heteronereis. Right, now the Heteronereis have become, so sexually mature individuals, they start swimming on the surface of water in order to shed the sperms and or ova, and this behavior, it is known as swamming, because during this particular time a huge number of Nereis, it becomes sexually mature, it becomes Heteronereis, and a large number of individuals may be found floating in the water. Oh, sorry, not floating, it may be swimming in the water. Okay, and this usually occur at night. Right, and during the swarming, they perform nuptial dance or copulatory dance, and the eggs and the what you call the sperms are released into the surrounding medium, and fertilization happens outside. Okay, it is external and takes place in seawater. Now, during the course of development, the you can see trochophore larva in the development. So it is a not in the direct development. Development is indirect with a distinct larval stage. And the trochophore larva, the name has come. Trochos means wheel, and phero means to bear, to carry. So it means wheel bearing or wheel-shaped band of cilia. It is because of this presence of wheel-shaped band of cilia. Now, the typical structure of trochophore larva. Trochophore larva is a typical larva of annelids, and in the case of a typical trochophore larva, it is not about an Aedes alone. Okay, So in a fully grown typical larva, we can see a sensory apical organ or apical plate over here. You can see apical sensory plate with a apical tuft of cilia. And just beneath the apical organ, we can also find the remnants of ganglion, brain rudiments, like brain rudiments as a ganglion, etc. Okay, then here you can see the mouth opening. It lies on the ventral side. This is the ventral side, and it is just beneath the prototroch. Okay, so this prototroch, it is actually the ciliary band. Okay, it is the ciliary band. Prototroch, it is a preoral ciliary band, and there is yet another. There could be yet another ciliary band, and it is referred as the just below the, it is usually found just below the mouth, and that one is usually referred as the post-oral ciliary band or metatroch, usually placed somewhere over here. Okay, in some trochophore larvae you can find that also. So there is a pre-oral ciliary band which is known as a prototroch. Okay, and post-oral ciliary band or metatroch may be present somewhere here, just behind the mouth. Now, the anal opening, it lies in the lower apex. Okay, these ciliated rings, that is a prototroch and the what we call the metatroch, they are responsible for or help in feeding as well as locomotion. The beating of the cilia, it helps in bringing the food laden water into the mouth, and also it helps in locomotion. Okay, and apart from these, there is a larval nephridia. This part, it is a larval nephridia, which is a protonephridial type. And the trochophore larva lacks a coelom, and you can see it floating in water. And the typical trochophore larva occurs only in a few polychaetes, and in some it is passed inside the egg membranes prior to hatching. So only a post-trochophore larva may emerge out or after hatching. So this is about the trochophore larva and the development. So repeating, trochophore larva, it is having a shape of this kind, and it is having a typical prototroch, it is a pre-oral ciliary band, and a metatroch, it is a post-oral ciliary band. Mouth is on the ventral side, and towards the lower apex you can find the anus. On the other apex you can find the apical sensory plate with the apical tuft of cilia, and this is about the trochophore larva. So we have seen the reproduction, how it is made up of, then the development of Heteronereis, what is epitochy, and the etoch and epitoch regions in a Heteronereis, what are the differences between the Nereis and Heteronereis stage, and the structure of trochophore larva. So this is all about the Nereis. We have seen the different systems, and with this video we'll be completing the different organ systems of Nereis. Fine, thank you.